in this recent incident, Afghan security forces link with the TTP has been established while they made two attempts at Pakistan-Afghanistan border.
The problem is that TTP is not born today. I mean, they under this umbrella, they in fact joined in 2007, but they existed. They existed in the form of quote-unquote mujahideen. A lot has to be done within our own borders.
There are other powers which are keeping strong eyes, particularly India. India has already influence over Afghanistan.
Mateen Saab, let them come. Let them come. Nothing. Let them come. Let them come and they'll taste their own medicine.
What other regional countries are thinking about peace and stability in Afghanistan?
United States and European countries are now least interested about Afghanistan. That is not on their priority list. So it is left for the regional countries, especially immediate neighbors and Russia, to look after this Afghanistan issue. The ruling elite of the Taliban, they are in a denial mode.
They're in a denial mode.
They are in a denial mode.
Any American approach under new administration while dealing with the Afghan Taliban on the issue of terrorism?
It was Mr. Trump who did not want to stay in Afghanistan. In fact, he asked his generals whether we can win the war. The answer was no. He said, then why are we wasting our blood and treasure?
Exactly. How the security issue in Balochistan could be overcome?
Well, that will only happen when if there is a political will to resolve Balochistan's political issues.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello and welcome to program Inside in V News English. Dear viewers, for Pakistan, and our biggest security challenge is definitely terrorism, which is emanating from Afghanistan soil. The terrorists who are trying to infiltrate into Pakistan from Pakistan-Afghan border, and many attempts have been made in 2024, and these all attempts have been filed by Pakistan security forces. Recently, Pakistani cabinet met and had an in-depth discussion on security situation in the region, terrorist outfits operating on Afghanistan side, and both Pakistan's military leadership and Pakistan's political leadership has sent a very strong signal and message to Kabul administration, and the message was that act firmly against the safe havens of the terrorists, which are posing direct and serious threat to the security and sovereignty of Pakistan. 2024, which is passing, was deadly in terms of some of the most deadly terrorist attacks that have been carried by Fitna al-Khawarij, also known as Band Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. In today's program, we will discuss all aspects of complex security situation which exists between Pakistan and Afghanistan, and in 2025, what should be the strategy to overcome this, keeping in view number of geostrategic and geopolitical developments which will be taking place, including the change of political administration in Washington, how regional countries could deal with that particular issue so that Pakistan and the region could be made more safer and peaceful. To discuss this all, we are fortunate to have with us former Ambassador Asif Durrani sahab, who has also been Pakistan's special representative for Afghanistan for approximately, if I'm not wrong, for approximately 4 years. And other than that, before joining as special representative for Afghanistan, he has spent long time in diplomacy and served as Pakistan's ambassador to United Arab Emirates, Iran, and as a senior diplomat served in many of the countries of the world. And he has very in-depth understanding of this complex security situation in Afghanistan. Ambassador Asif Durrani sahab, very warm welcome to Program Insight.
Thank you very much. Let me correct you that I was special rep for Afghanistan for a year and a half, not for 4 years.
A year and a half, yes. Thank you so much For a year and a half, he has served as Pakistan's special representative for Afghanistan. Ambassador Asif Durrani, sir, to begin this week we have seen very high-profile briefings, one by Chief Military Spokesman, Director General of Inter-Services Public Relations, Lieutenant General Ahmed Sharif Chaudhry, in which most of the focus was Afghanistan and non-cooperative response from Kabul administration towards addressing this particular issue, that counter-terrorism and infiltration attempts being made by Fitna al-Khawarij. And in one of the recent incidents, the proper Afghan security posts were used along with the Afghan security forces and Fitna al-Khawarij. These two attempts were foiled by Pakistan security forces. And the Pakistani cabinet met separately, in-depth discussion, and also called upon Afghan administration to act firmly and decisively against these outfits. So why it is happening so now? In this recent incident, Afghan security forces link with the TTP has been established while they made two attempts at Pakistan-Afghanistan border. Ambassador Durrani, sir.
Yes, you have elaborated the entire story. The problem is that TTP is not born today. I mean, they under this umbrella, they in fact joined in 2007, but they existed. They existed in the form of quote-unquote mujahideen. So when 9/11 happened, they were the same people, but when Pakistan took the U-turn, according to them, that you took the U-turn, we are the same mujahideen. Till yesterday we were mujahideen, and today you are telling us, we were telling General Musharraf. So I think we committed mistakes, and that's the reason today we have to face the music. And the main thing which I think now, Taliban, I mean, they were present in Afghanistan during Ashraf Ghani's time also. When Operation Zarwaz was launched in 2014 onwards, they were on the
in North
defensive.
Waziristan, exactly.
They were on the defensive. They ran away.
They ran away.
But I think a lot has to be done within our own borders, and I think counterterrorism is a police job. And police's capability are to be enhanced. And political ownership is needed in order to curb this menace. And for that, I think our political forces, all political forces, they have to join hands and then come forward. Because it should not be left to the law enforcement agencies for addressing the counterterrorism measures. This has to be you have to have a whole hog approach, and for that, I think Afghanistan is only a part, and Afghan Taliban they are to be dealt with like any foreigners. Like you have relationship with any country, we should maintain a respectable distance, and we should not try to patronize them. We should not vie for having a friendly government in Afghanistan. Let there be a stable government in Afghanistan, and keep treat them as a sovereign state, and we have these misconception of having a friendly government in Afghanistan. This is my firm view. This is my considered views. These are my considered views, and so there are many ways to control these TTP guys and others, but the main action lies within our own borders.
Main action lies with Pakistan's own policies. I would just quickly raise this point, as you said, that let Afghan people decide whatever style or whatever form of government they may have in Kabul. And Pakistan's this concept of having friendly government in Kabul, this should be abandoned. If we abandon Afghanistan, Ambassador Durrani Sahab, there are other powers which are keeping strong eyes, particularly India. India has already influence over Afghanistan. How
Mateen
would you
Saab, let them come. Let them come.
let
Nothing
them
will
come?
happen. Let them come. Let them come and they'll taste their own medicine. I mean, these are the skewed views. Those who don't understand Afghanistan, perhaps they are hearing these views. Nothing will happen. I can assure you. India, you give them, brave heart. They are not so brave hearts. So I can tell you, they will not. I can assure you. Yes, they will give money to the people like they were giving money to Afghans, their proxies to do mischiefs in Pakistan. That is happening. So, but I think while sitting in the glass house, India should not be throwing stones because that can hurt them also. Yes. So here my firm view is that leave Afghanistan to their own devices. Afghanistan has got 5 other neighbors also. So they are dealing with Afghanistan as a sovereign state, and they just want to keep a respectable distance. That's it. And they have rule of law in their own countries, right from Iran to Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and China. It's the erosion of rule of law in Pakistan for which we are suffering. Please establish the rule of law in the country. That is more important. And when we respect our laws and when we enforce rule of law in the country, these Taliban will also respect it. Right now, they are, in fact, taking undue advantage of the lack of rule
Lawlessness
in Pakistan. Yes.
So recently, Pakistani security forces carried out some of the precision counter-terrorism attacks operations, which resulted into the killing of many of Fitna al-Khawarij or TTP militants. So what do you think? This military engagement is the option, or diplomatic or political engagement is the option? However, Pakistani government and military has made it clear that there will be no talks with the TTP. There will be no talks with them. Rather, they accused former PTI government of negotiating with them and resettling them into Pakistan, which is why Pakistan is facing this time.
Well, I'm not privy to what they have in their mind and what kind of a policy they want to pursue. Don't want to talk to TTP, fair enough. They are non-state actors. Non-state actors cannot be allowed to promote their agenda through force. They cannot. If they want to be part of the mainstream politics, then they should owe allegiance to Pakistan's constitution. They should surrender arms. And like any other religious political party, which are active in Pakistan, so they can also join. So that path is available to them, but not through guns, not through force. That cannot be allowed. And those who are suggesting that we should hold talks with them, talks we did in 2022. What happened? They were not ready to surrender arms. They were not ready to owe allegiance to Pakistan's constitution. The TTP guys were not ready to face the law for the heinous crimes they committed, like APS massacre, in which more than 150 children were killed. So these are the facts, and I think that's because that has happened because there has been erosion of rule of law in the country. It is not because of 9/11, but even before, when these were the Mujahideen. And we know that they were roaming around in unlicensed vehicles. They were carrying guns. This gun culture was introduced because of Afghanistan and because of the erosion of rule of law in the country.
Ambassador Durrani Saab, Pakistan on number of occasions at different forums, at different summits, and Pakistan has also made it clear in December 2021 when Pakistan hosted OIC foreign ministers moot on Afghanistan and several other occasions that security situation in Afghanistan or Afghanistan is not only responsibility of Pakistan but other regional stakeholders. You have been as a special representative interacting with Iranians, with Chinese, with Tajiks, with Russians, and you have attended several Doha meetings as well. So, what other regional countries are thinking about peace and stability in Afghanistan?
I think they are foremost, the immediate neighbors are concerned about their borders. So they have insulated their borders. So in that respect, you will not hear that these terrorists are launching attacks. Yes, there have been attacks. There have been attacks in Iran. There have been attacks in Russia. In Pakistan, more frequent attacks. Apart from TTP, it's the ISKP which has been involved. But by and large, their borders are secure. But at the Doha Forum, that is much a wider forum in which United States and European countries are also there. But United States and European countries are now least interested about Afghanistan. That is not on their priority list. So it is left for the regional countries, especially immediate neighbors and Russia, to look after this Afghanistan issue. And in fact, these regional countries are actually looking after Afghanistan to the subsistence level. Otherwise, I'm afraid that if Afghanistan economically we do not support through trade and more interaction, then there will be more poverty. Already 97% countries suffering from poverty, out of which 52% are actually dependent on international humanitarian assistance. If this economic situation further deteriorates, so people will start leaving their country, and again, it should be a big source of concern for us, because the favorite destination for the Afghans to leave their country is actually their first port of call is Pakistan. So we have to be ready for those contingencies also. So it's an issue where we have to tread very carefully. And more than military means, we should apply diplomacy. Where it's possible to give concessions, especially in trade, especially in more economic activity, that should be given. But when it comes to maintaining law and order, or when it comes to applying the country's laws, that should be strictly followed, like other immediate neighbors of Afghanistan do. Yes.
So Afghans are also having very good trade and economic ties with Iran, and they are seeking trade corridor, I mean highways in Iran that may connect Afghanistan with Iranian coastal areas and ports over there. So, of course, as far as trade between Pakistan and Afghanistan is concerned, that is also on the rise. But as you said, that international community, which mainly is United States, European Union, they are least interested in Afghanistan. But after spending 18 years, if they will be least interested in Afghanistan, this terrorism and terrorist outfits, safe havens, several other international terrorist organizations, they will make their footprints more stronger in Afghanistan. As you feared, that if economic situation is not addressed, it could further push Afghanistan into a deep poverty.
Yeah, you have answered yourself, and I have already said it that Europe and America, for the timing, they are least interested in Afghanistan. So you can't force them to come back to Afghanistan. So that's the reality on ground. And but at the same time, Afghanistan is a reality. Taliban are ruling the country. That's a reality. There is no immediate threat to the Taliban rule. That is a reality. Those who are in opposition, they are sitting outside Afghanistan.
Okay.
They are ineffective. They are ineffective. Yes, sorry.
No, I was just exactly repeating your sentence that there is no immediate threat to a Taliban rule, but how long they will remain in power as an interim setup or as an interim arrangement when they are
Well,
likely to move.
that could be anybody's guess. We are talking about Afghanistan, so
Hmm.
nothing is certain. You can't predict about Afghanistan. What will happen next year, which will be, by the way, tomorrow.
Hmm.
So it's Afghanistan. We, at least for the past 45 years, we are seeing the kind of instability that country is suffering from is unfortunate, and it has more than two generations of Afghans have been born and brought up in conditions which has only caused death and destruction to that unfortunate country. Yes.
Hmm. Since you belong to Balochistan, this insurgency and terrorism is also rise in Balochistan. In this part, KPK, of course, there is a huge border between Pakistan and Afghanistan, and that border is a source of trouble in the sense that there are cross-border attacks from Afghanistan soil into Pakistan. But there is also complex security situation in Balochistan that is also linked definitely with Afghanistan, that some of the Baloch separatist organizations are also operating from Afghan territory. So, what is how the security issue in Balochistan could be overcome if we wanted to achieve the goals and objectives of socio-economic development, completion of projects under CPAC, and if we wish to see Balochistan as stable, peaceful, economically developed?
Well, that will only happen when if there is a political will to resolve
Hmm.
Balochistan's political issues. I'm
Politically.
yes, I'm of the firm belief that kinetic approach has not worked. It's not going to work in Balochistan, especially while resolving the political issues. So, uh, and then this ad hocism, which has been prevalent in Balochistan, and
Hmm.
that and bureaucratic measures taken would not work. It is the genuine political people in Balochistan. They should be allowed to come forward and they should take the political ownership of resolving this issue. And please, I have another advice to our friends, those who are in a position to decision-making position, that uh, everyone is a patriot.
Exactly.
So don't doubt patriotism of the people. They are equally patriotic. They know if they raise their voices, if they are noisy, there's a reason. So listen to them and have a dialogue, on permanent basis. It should not be left from one gentleman to other gentleman in a position of authority, that if he or she is changed, and then policy changes. No, this is ad hocism with which Balochistan has been dealt throughout, and Balochistan has been neglected throughout. And this is what we are witnessing, not right from now, but it is the fifth insurgency situation in Balochistan. So this is not something new, or it has happened all of a sudden. No, something was brewing, and our people have had ad hoc approach, and that is not good. And that is, which is why we are now witnessing the problem in Balochistan. And it has, by and large, as far as Baloch aspect is concerned, it has nothing to do with Taliban.
Hmm.
They may be taking shelter. That is a rawaj, that is a tradition on both sides, in Afghanistan and Pakistan, that at times if you are in difficulty, you move on to other areas. Uh, like these Afghan Muhajir refugees, they came to Pakistan. We gave the shelter. It is also very much there in Afghanistan. So And it's not something a new tradition. These traditions are there; those are centuries old, uh, and those are likely to continue in foreseeable future. But main issue is address the political issues through political means,
Hmm.
not through administrative measures. Yes.
Ambassador Durrani Saab, you have also served as Pakistan's ambassador to Iran, and as a special representative, you have visited Tehran a number of times. What is this security issue between Pakistan and Iran? And in 2024 February, we have seen both countries carried out strikes in their territories against the terrorists, as a result of which the diplomatic ties between the two countries were suspended. But within no time, then again, both countries agreed to restore the diplomatic relations, and the ambassadors who were stopped, they were again asked to resume their duties. But ultimately, security is an issue between Pakistan and Afghanistan. There are some terror outfits which are threat to Iran's security, and there are certain terror outfits and persons, terrorists, who are in Iran, and they are threat to Pakistan's security. How Pakistan and Iran could address this security challenge together?
I think it is being addressed, and it's being addressed amicably. And on 16 January this year, the attack from IRGC or Pakistan was a big mistake, which was later on realized by our Iranian friends, and which is why that this issue was immediately resolved.
Exactly.
The visit of Iranian foreign minister and then later on,
And later on,
president. Yes. So that was through maturity, through mature handling, this tension was diffused immediately. The ambassadors were, I think it was probably for 2 or 3 days, they were suspended, but they resumed their duties. But that should, in fact, is what emulation as far as resolving disputes is concerned, that through the mature manner, Pakistan and Iran handled that crisis. With the Afghan Taliban, I'm afraid till the time they were fighting, the foreign troops, they had no responsibility. They felt, I think, they could attack and they could run away, and without taking due care about the collateral damage or whatever. But now, since they are in the government, they are responsible for everything, whether it is bringing water to the people or health facilities or education or whatever. They are responsible for everything. And on that count, I think they lack governance experience. That is also causing problems in the country. There is a discontent that is very much there. Unfortunately, the ruling elite of the Taliban, they are in a denial mode.
They're in a denial mode.
They are in a denial mode. They know what challenges are. They know how the ISKP has been, living in Afghanistan. They have, in fact, enhanced their membership. They have added more members. Some of the TTP guys have also joined them. And yes, but these Taliban government, their officials, they deny. At times, they put the blame on Pakistan. Had this been the case here in ISKP, we could have handled. For instance, with TTP, we are handling that. It is not the question. TTP thinks they are just a bunch of thugs who are not even ideologically motivated, or who are not actually the kind of spirit of Islam we are talking about. They are absolutely unaware of that. So if that is the case, how can they rule? And if that is the case, they should have had supporters inside Pakistan. They don't have. They don't have any governing spaces like they used to have for a short while in Swat or Malakand. They are on the run. And these things should be realized by the Taliban. And they should also realize that perhaps they are taking the cover of Personally and giving shelter to these TTP guys. But that is different, because under the Rawaj also, if you are giving shelter to someone, he or she cannot be allowed to misuse the hospitality and use Afghan soil to attack Pakistan. So I think these, and then another thing which again, unfortunately, that cause negative impression, or in fact the Taliban's impression gets further strained. That is that it was quite made in public that Mullah Heptullah Khund has declared attacking Pakistan haram. But the TTP is not listening to that. It means that they don't care about the edict of Mullah Heptullah Khund, on to whom they owe their allegiance or bath. They have sworn in, and so Mullah Heptullah's edict becomes a law for them. But they are not implementing that. So these are certain big questions which, in fact, is becoming a problem for Pakistan, and then the Taliban as a whole are getting a very negative impression in Pakistan. So again, that will not go into their favor. Yes.
Ambassador Durrani Saab, one very important point that everybody is keenly awaiting the new political administration in Washington, that means return of the Republicans and their president-elect, Mr. Donald Trump. He will officially assume responsibility in January 2025. Will you see, because he's on the path of aggressive diplomacy, dealing with China differently, with Iran, and also pushing for quick peace in Ukraine. So, but earlier we know that you have said that Americans have abandoned it. So do you think under Trump, there will be some focus on how the Taliban administration could be made sensitive, that they may act firmly against terrorist hideouts? Because under Doha Agreement, they have made pledge that their territory will not be used for terrorism, but it is being used. So do you think, finally, the question is that any American approach under new administration while dealing with the Afghan Taliban on the issue of terrorism?
I don't think so, because I have spoken to some of the American think tank people who are very close to Republicans, and they are familiar with Trump's approach, his vision. They are not interested. It was Trump who actually engaged and entered into negotiations and signed the Doha Agreement, shook hand with the Taliban with smiling faces. Their pictures were all over the world, flashed all over the world. So it was Mr. Trump who did not want to stay in Afghanistan. In fact, he asked his generals whether we can win the war. The answer was no. He said, then why are we wasting our blood and treasure?
Exactly.
Yeah, so I don't think that Mr. Trump is going to involve himself in Afghanistan, and whether the Taliban would be ready for that. It's better you should ask the Taliban also whether how they will react to Mr. Trump's presidency, whether they will be ready for that. I don't think so. Yes, on the humanitarian aspect, through the UN, Americans are giving, they are making their contribution. But overall, it's not. Their priority is Ukraine, their priority is China.
China, exactly. How to contain China? This is what my next question is. Do you think in 2025 China will take some more interest in peace and stability in Afghanistan, because China strongly believes on connectivity, on building of connections, communication network, and these all BRI dreams could not be fulfilled if there is no peace in Afghanistan. You have been interacting with the Chinese. What is Chinese perspective on peace and on counterterrorism?
For the time being, on BRI, I don't think that Afghanistan is part of that link. It is the CPEC, which is through Pakistan. And Chinese know it full well that they are not going to invest in Afghanistan, which is unstable. And no one is sure whether this, right now, the semblance of normalcy is going to stay or not. So I think Chinese will take their time before they decide. As far as Afghanistan is concerned, yes, their first priority would be that their border remains insulated. Their priority would be that ETIM terrorists should be eliminated. Yes. And Taliban have not acted fully so far. But yes, they have been trying to keep them under control. This is also our demand that they should control TTP cadres.
In 2025, finally, one question which is related to your diplomatic career. Pakistani advisor meeting in Islamabad. All aspects of foreign policies are being reviewed, and you have a very deep understanding of Pakistan's foreign policy. In 2025, do you think that the things that we have discussed, some of the complex foreign policy issues, challenges, how Pakistan would be able to deal with some of these complex challenges in 2025? As a seasoned diplomat, your thoughts?
I think these challenges are not new. We have been through these challenges in the past also. The main issue is that we should concentrate in improving our economic conditions.
Economic condition, governance.
That is the foremost thing. And political stability is also very important. Because your successful foreign policy is a reflection of your stable conditions inside the country. So that will determine. So, Envoys Conference, it's a routine. They meet, they contribute, they meet periodically, and that's a regular feature, and then they make the recommendations. Yes.
Thank you so much indeed, former Ambassador Asif Durrani Saab, and who has also served as Pakistan's Special Representative for Afghanistan, for sharing some of your very, very valuable thoughts and your analysis as far as counterterrorism and Afghanistan is concerned. Despite your busy schedule, you spoke to this program and answered some of the critical issues and questions. Thank you so much. And dear viewers, till our next program, goodbye and Allah Hafiz from studios.